Good morning, everyone. I am making spoon bread this morning. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this. It's very close to a cornbread, but it's to me closer to like a corn pudding or a souffle, a corn souffle. It's just really good. You make this almost like a pudding. So I had milk, a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of salt. I heated that up until it almost started bubbling around the edges, and then I added my cornmeal. And right now I just added my butter, and I'm going to put a little bit of this in my egg yolks. And I want to make sure that I get those I can't talk. These egg yolks, the temperature a little bit warmer than they were coming out of the fridge before I put them in this pudding. I don't want them to cook. Okay, so now we'll add that in. This is such a good recipe, you guys. A lot of times this spoon bread will have cheese in it and tons of butter and lots of sugar. This one is just right to me. Just really, really, really good. And it's gluten-free, which is really awesome. So it's a nice side dish to make like for Thanksgiving. All right, I'm gonna add my baking powder. You got to work fast because your mixture will become hard if you don't get going with it. Now it calls for 2 cups of corn. I'm only putting 1, and mine's from a can that's been drained, but you can use fresh. I've done that before. It's very good. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my spatula here. Oh, it's good, yum. Okay, now you put the 2 egg yolks in, and then your egg whites go in a mixer, and you beat them. This is what makes this so light and fluffy. So you're gonna fold your egg whites in now. It is kind of like a souffle. It's so good. Like you want to eat it with a spoon. You don't want to cut it like a bread. I guess that's why they call it spoon bread. All right, let's fold these egg whites in very slowly. You don't want to break them down. You just want to fold them in. Now, I already have a pan in the oven, or 2 pans actually, and I put a little butter in it. And that butter is melting and the pan is getting hot. I've done this in my 10-inch cast iron and it's delicious. But today I'm taking a little bit over to my son's, and I'm gonna leave a little bit here since Jim gets back in town tomorrow. So I'm gonna actually do it in 2 different pans. And also change your recipes around. If this looks like it had too much sugar, and you don't want that much sugar, just cut it back. Or if it has too much butter, cut it back. This one, I don't want 2 cups of corn. I'm only doing 1. So that's what cooking is all about, is designing it to your taste. Taking a recipe and designing it to your taste. Okay, now, before I put this in my pan, I want to show you a little tip. Let me see if that's a little bit hot. All right, here's my tip. Remember I talked about, of course my little thing is gone. Hang on. Remember when I talked about using these kind of measuring cups with dry ingredients and these kind with wet ingredients? I'm going to show you a little example of why that is. So I've measured out 3/4 cup of my cornmeal, and this is a 3/4 cup measuring cup here. Now, if I was to just measure it like this and pour it in, it would have been too much. And let me show you why. If you dump this in here, look what happens. I mean, it's not a lot of a difference, but a little bit could ruin a recipe. Now look, as I level this off, this is how much really goes in the recipe, and this would be the excess. So that little bit of cornmeal could make this thicker. I mean, it could change the flavor. I mean, it does matter. So I just wanted to show that little tip to you. Okay, let me get my pans out of the oven. My butter now in the bottom of the little pans is melted. Okay, so let me close my oven door. All right, so take your little pans and swirl the butter all the way around it. I kind of go up a little bit on the pan. Okay, and the same with this one. All right, and then I'm just going to divide this out. Usually you just have like a 3-quart pan and you just do one, but I'm doing 2. I'm going to try to divide this out pretty good. Let's see how good I do. All right, that butter you can see is going on the outside of the batter here, and it's going to create a really yummy crust. I really hope you guys try this. It's really good. I mean, serve this alongside your turkey for Thanksgiving and have a little bite of spoon bread with your turkey. So good. All right, I think I'm even. Pretty even. Alrighty. This is now going to go in my oven. Look how light it is already and fluffy. It's going to go in my oven and bake, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when they come out. Okay guys, I am back. These have been out of the oven for about 5 or 10 minutes. They're just yummy. I love these little pans. So you want it to be about that brown. You don't want to overcook this and make it dry. It's supposed to be real moist. So we're going to dip into one. Oh my gosh, it smells good. Okay, can y'all see it? So it's kind of like a bread, but it's also, it's real creamy. Very, very creamy. So good.